All right. Today I wanted to get a little bit further on enabling VR multiplayer presence, which means how do we see other people? So when I join, currently the excuse me, the camera created is at a fixed location, and we need to create that at user's location. So how do we get the user's location? So I think we need to introduce a spawn point. So if user has no location, use spawn point. If they do, reuse the previous location, because disconnections are common when we connect to the channel, and let's say we had a bad internet connection, we disconnect, but we come back in, or we just something's off and we need to reload the browser. We want to pick up at our previous location, which will still be stored on the server side, so the front end can just pick that up. So we want to, one, create an entity for a spawn point, and then two, pass the spawn point details to the channel join API, so we can put it somewhere in the back. Three, we need to store the user's location in the backend, maybe ETS table. 4, return the location to the channel join response, either spawn point or new or previous location. Then there has to be an order. Then 5, only after location is known do we draw camera. 6, only after camera is created do we start game engine. So there's a certain order of operations that have to happen here. Okay, let's start with the first point, create an entity for a spawn point. What is our list of entities now? Is it in here? Entities, okay, it is box cone. So we can add spawn point to this list. There's no reason, this could look nicer. It could look like spawn point. Could look like this. Where's this used? So this is used as a type here. Which I'm a little at odds with, because one is kind of presentation and two is something that shouldn't be changed often. Whoops. Yeah, new name, kind. Why don't we just stick with our convention right now and just call it spawn point. At a later time we might want to fix this up. So default components for anything you don't specify is here. So I think the default, it can't have a color on it. So default components of a spawn point would just be these. And I would set the position to be at the origin, no rotation, and no scale. And of course, this can be tweaked in the UI, but that'll be the initial value. So you add a spawn point, that's what you get. Now, does this just work? Do we need to add a type under polymorphic types? Has many components. This is not a new component. Let's give it a try. New space. Create spawn point. Alright, enter the space. Nothing but green. Menu, add a spawn point. Add. We've got our spawn point with only position. And I'll change this to 5, 5, 5. It's saved. And let's just take a look in the database. Looks like it's set. It updated that. I can just refresh this. Take a look at the position component. Yep, 555. Alright, so that first part is done. We have introduced this part, entity for spawn point. Now, we want to pass our spawn point to the channel join API. That comes into play in the orchestrator. Here we're saying here's the new socket, here's the space channel, so we could be passing the spawn point here. And we have access to it because we have all the entities here. So we can create a function that's called find spawn point. So find spawn point. Where, let's see, entities are stored in here. And entities I kind of want to say for debugging, I want to say channel space shuttle. A window orchestrator this, because then I can do this orchestrator dot entities, and I can peek inside this. So entities has the type spawn point. So we want to filter this dot entities filter, and you pass in a function that is the entity, and for any value that's true, it will return it. So entity dot type is equal to spawn point. And that will return you let result is this. I'm not going to change this, so we can say const. And when I want to return, I want to return the component position, which there's only going to be one component, so I can just return whatever position that is. So return, why don't we do this? I feel like it needs rotation too. No, it's spawn point. Rotation, we'll just assume is always none then. Okay. Position. Okay, so result dot components let component equal this. Oh, sorry. Result first one dot components first one. So that's the component, and the component has data x, y, and z. Let's just say that this is the position, and we'll just return position x, position y, position z. So this is more like, and if we don't have this, so okay, we have the result which matches something, and then we're digging through here. I did come across this library called JS Match Toy that does pattern matching in JavaScript, which may be a good candidate if we're doing digging through arrays and matching through things like this. Might have a better syntax, because if any of this fails, this will just raise something. So it's almost easier to say this, try this, and if you run off an array or if anything happens, then return the origin instead. we can look into that. So right now, we'll find the spawn point inside entities, and so we'll say that this, or let's just pass it. So what do we pass? We can say spawn point and give it this find spawn point. We'll do that. And let's go to the space channel and see what our join is giving us. So we have these params here, and let's check out what this inspect params label params. So we'll come over here, we'll refresh, and here we get params spawn point position 0, 0, 0. Okay, that doesn't seem like it doesn't seem like it's 555. What happened here? Let's console log our error out back in orchestrator. So what happened in our find spawn point here? Catch and console log the error here. Cannot read properties of undefined reading components. Okay, let's see what this is. Console log result. Result is result. Result is nothing. Alright, we're going to go through filter entity. What's entities here? This entities. Console.log. This entities. Oops. This entities. Okay, this entities is here. Clear, there's a type with a spawn point on this object. This entities filter console log looking at entity. Type spawn point. Oh, I need to return that, don't I? So let's do this. I think if it does that expression, there's our result. Result, finally, result has something. And what did our backend give us? Here it is, 555. Okay, so we're sending the correct spawn point now. So we did this part, pass the spawn point to the channel API. Now, we ought to store this somewhere. we need an ets table. And the ets table is bound to some process. So when the process dies, the ets table will die too. So far we can't put it in the space channel because the space channel connection is fragile. So every time you refresh the browser, this space channel here is going to terminate and get respawned. So we can't create the ets table in here. We should probably create the ets table when a room or space is spawned, which we haven't really talked about here. So we need something to own the ets table. And currently we allow any URL to be created. Well, we're not validating it. So if we go to space channel, space controller, it doesn't matter what this slug is. There's no gen server here. We're just getting a space by this. But this it should crash if you don't find a space by this. So what happens here in this API if we say spaces get space by slug, and you just give it something nonsense, it'll give you nil. So we only want to do this case space. If it's nil, do something. Otherwise, space, just render this, and here, syntax error before this thing. Yeah. What do we want to do? We want to redirect to the home page with a flash error. How do you do that? Phoenix redirect with flash error. Direct. Okay, redirect task, redirect to okay, looks like it's this. Redirect, and how about flash messages? So put flash error. Okay, this is what I want. I'm going to put flash error. Unrecognized URL space slug URL. Redirect to routes page path. Where are our routes? Page controller index. So give me mix routes. Mix Phoenix routes. So page path index. What? what happened here? Syntax error before this. Oh, there's nothing. Oh, we need the con. Okay. Start our server. Give it a quick test. If I were to just put in something mumbo jumbo, unrecognized. Thank you. I come over here. Okay. What was I working on? We need to store. Okay, we need a owning. So 2.5. Need an owning process for an eds table. So create, and then create eds table. 2.6. Create an ETS table for user locations, possibly rotation. Alright, we'll leave that for a subsequent video.